Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make progressive melodic techno like Cirez. As usual, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets. All of that stuff from this video is available right at the top of the description, and if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And yeah, let's dive in. So this loop you heard in the intro, we're at 126 BPM, pretty standard, BPM for this more progressive style of techno. The first sound we have here is the lead, which sounds like this. So here are the notes. You can see it's literally just one note. It's just G. That's the key we're in. That's the key that the kick is tuned to, along with the bass line. And yeah, so that's the first thing of progressive leads. A lot of times, a lead in a progressive track is more about just getting like a really nice lead sound, and then just kind of having it be really rhythmic like this. Rather than having this jumping over the whole G minor scale. Another thing you'll see here is the swing too. I gave it like that little bit of da-da-da. Like you can see that 16th note is off the grid. That one is as well. Like it's mostly those. I've done this a bit with the bass line. This is really nice with the style to give it that kind of like da-da-da-da-da instead of just having it be, super rigid and on the grid. But the sound, this one's made using analog. It's actually very simple. It's just a saw wave and a square wave, and then I've got the amp envelope set really short, and that's how you get this kind of a sound. And I'll show you what this sounds like dry coming out of the synth too, just to show you like how much processing kind of goes into it. So here's with no processing. Yeah, it's literally just this little synth pluck here. I've got a little bit of vibrato and then a bit of unison. And yeah, that's it for the sound. Like I said, it's a really simple sound inside the synth. Like I said, it's just about getting a really nice, clear synth like this and letting that shine in the mix. So after that, I've got a bit of resonator. You can see we've got this on the B mode here, so it's a little bit more metallic. Typically A, you can hear how it's more of that like ringing out sound. B gives you that like crunchy kind of thing. So here's without this. And then with it. So you can hear what this is doing. This is a really good way to add some character and some texture to your sounds when you have a really simple sound like this. And all I did here is I've just got it on the B mode. I've got the K there. The note is tuned to G. That's the key we're in. And then I have the dry wet up a little bit. And that's pretty much it. Very simple, but adds a lot of cool texture. After that, we have the echo and reverb. These are both giving it space. You can see with the echo, we've just got 8th notes, and then the reverb is pretty short, and then I've got the pre-delay up. So with the echo, this is really making the sound wider. Like this sound actually needs to be pretty wide in order for it to really sit on top of the mix the way it is now. And this echo is what's doing that. If I turn it off, because you can hear I have it on the ping pong setting, so you're getting all those little repeats in each ear. And then with the reverb, what's happening here is we have this like pre-delay thing going on. So I'll turn this off and then I'll turn it on so you can hear. There's without it. And then with it, so you can hear it's creating this fast like of reverb right after the note. This is what you want to aim for with this style to give it that kind of more like, quick and fast sort of sound. So the key to this is just turning the decay time down, turning the size down, and then you can see the pre-delays up a bunch. And if I put the pre-delay back, you can hear it's not the same. You need that like to kind of like go into the sound like that. And then you put those together and you get the echoes. Like every single one of those little echoes is getting this reverb as well. So this is how we create like a really big sound using echo and reverb for this style of track. Like this is used a lot in these types of leads in these progressive tracks because you really just are you're trying to give it like some texture. It's not just like reverb just for the sake of like giving it a little bit of ambience. It's really to like give it that texture and give it that thing that you can't get with just the synth. After that, we have a bit of drum bus to fatten the sound up. And then I have this auto pan, which is making it kind of pump up like this. You can see I've got the phase on 0, quarter notes, and then we have it going up. So that's also important because you need that rhythm. If I turn that off, it feels like the break. But when you have this, you're getting the rhythm of the lead, the rhythm of the delay, the rhythm of that reverb kind of like we were talking about, and then the auto pan, giving it that last little bit of pump. So there's a lot of movement happening with this sound, and this is how, again, we create such a big thing like this. And then finally after that, we just have a high pass filter, and that's it for the lead. After that, we've got the pad, which only plays in the second half here, and it sounds like this. So this is meant to just kind of be, this is really like an optional layer, you know, like maybe this would be sort of your main drop. And then once you get over here, you know, this is playing for like a minute or 2 minutes or something. And then the pad comes in to kind of fill out the arrangement a little. So that's the idea with that one. And then with the notes on this one, all it's doing here is it's literally just playing D, C, and then D sharp. So we're playing D, which is the fifth, because again, we're in G, so the fifth is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes up. There we go. D. And then C is just 2 notes down from the fifth, and then the D sharp is just 1 note up. But then you're getting like this really cool interaction between this and the bass line and the lead. The way I kind of think of this, and this might be a little bit abstract, but it's like, you know, I think of making music a lot kind of like writing a story. You know, these elements, the kick, or the bass line and the lead, those are the characters in your scene that are like, they're kind of on the same page, right? They're the ones that are like telling you like the same thing, you know. This one's playing G, this one's playing G. And then this is that character that's speaking up and saying something to kind of shake up the scene and make it, you know, some kind of tension there. Because the ones that are agreeing are good. Like, then you need those, but you also need something to shake it up. You can't just have everybody agree all the time. So that's sort of how I think of this one. This is the one that's coming in and breaking it up a little. For the sound with this one, it's made with operator. It's FM, so you can see, yeah, we just have 3 sine waves here, all at different octaves. Second one's detuned a little bit, and then I just have a little bit of an LFO on the volume of oscillator B. So that's like that kind of thing that you hear. It's just literally the volume of oscillator B being turned up and down. And yeah, then after that we have a resonator. This one is actually the same as the one that was on the lead. Here's without this. And then with it, it's the same deal. You can hear it's just creating this kind of like, you know, big metallic texture on top of everything. Then we have this chorus. This is also doing that because I have the feedback up. So here's without the chorus. And then with it. So turning that feedback up really introduces that like metallic thing there. And yeah, then we just have a bit of reverb. After that I have the Haas effect. So what we have is we have an audio effect rack here doing the Haas effect. What it is it's one chain pan to the left with no effects, and then one pan to the right, which has this delay. And all the delay is doing is we have the feedback all the way down. So it's literally just creating like one more signal of the original sound, which is 10 milliseconds after the original. And then what happens is when you put these two together and they're panned hard left and hard right, you get this really wide stereo image. If I turn this off, here's without it. And then with it. So this is important. It's just kind of spreading the sound out, making it a bit bigger, and helping to make it stand out in the mix as well. Because keep in mind, this does have quite a bit of stereo width, but it's mostly down the center. This is the one where it's like really in the sides like this, so they're not fighting for the same space. Because if I turn this off, they're kind of right down the middle now. And yeah, then after that we just have a little bit of drum bus on here to fatten it up. Here's without this. So it just makes the sound a lot bigger. And then finally we just have another auto pan sort of doing that simulated side chain and a high pass filter, and then that's it for the pad. After that we have the kick, which sounds like this. So the way this is made is it's 2 layers. We have this low layer, and then we have this higher, more clicking layer. And what this one is it's just this kick, sort of like an 808 style kick. And then I've just high passed it to get just the click. And then we just have them layered together in an instrument rack. So this is a really great way to make your own kicks, because the thing here is like this kick has good low end, but you need it to have that click. You can hear when that's on its own, you don't really get that same like punching through the mix. But when we turn this on, there we go, it's punching through the mix really nicely. And then I just have a little bit of drum bus on those together to glue them together. Here's without it. And then with it. So you can hear what that's doing, you know. It just fills in the space a little bit and makes it sound like one kick. After that we have the bass line, which sounds like this. So here's without the reverb. So you can hear this one is literally just playing. So pretty simple sort of rolling bass line here. You can see again we have a little bit of swing. You also notice with some of these notes I have the velocity turned down. You know, that's important. It makes it expressive. The idea here is like, this is a very rigid sounding synth. So if you can kind of make it expressive in this way, you know, it's definitely a good thing to do. But yeah, and then for the sound with this one, it's made using analog. So this is just 2 saw waves going into a low pass filter which has an envelope on it. Makes it a bit plucky. We get the amp envelope set like this. And then I just have this reverb here. This is the same deal as the lead, where it's just like that fast sort of pre-delayed reverb. You know, this is more like when you listen to the intros of these type of tracks, you always notice like, you know, it's never just like that simple. That's kind of flat, but when you have something like this, it brings it to life. So that's the idea here, is just to bring the bass line to life a little bit while still keeping it under control. You know, it's not the longest reverb ever. It's very tight, so it's still going to fit in there. And then we just have a bit of saturation on there to fatten it up. And then finally I have this EQ8, which is just cutting at 100 Hertz. Makes a little bit of room for the kick, because typically 100 Hertz is where the kick is really punching. And then I've got a low end boost. And then I have the low end elements, the kick and the bass, in a group together, which is a little bit of saturation to kind of glue them together. Here's without it. And then with it. So you can hear it really fills in the spaces there. It makes that low end like as fat as it possibly can be. And yeah, then the last layer we have here is the hi-hat, which sounds like this. So this is made using 2 layers. We have a mid-range layer, sort of more of like a punchy hi-hat, and then a high-end layer, which is this one. And you can see on this one we have the Haas effect. So same thing as on the pad. Again, it's just taking the left signal and then the right signal, delaying the right signal 10 milliseconds forward, and then it makes this really wide stereo image. And this is important. This track is very few elements, so you're trying to get as much mileage as you can out of each element. So if you can have the hi-hat be really wide like this with the high end, but keep the mid-range, you know, just fat and down the center, that's perfect. And that's the idea here, is to really get the most mileage out of this hi-hat. And yeah, and then I have those in an instrument rack here. You can see on the group of both of those, I just have a little bit of drum bus to glue them together, kind of make them a bit harder. And then a high pass filter cutting out the low end. And that's it for the hi-hats. And that's all it's going to be it for this video, guys. So, as always, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the full project file and samples and MIDI and presets. All of that from this video is available at the top of the description. This is a great way to support me if these videos have helped you guys in any way. Yeah, like I said, link is at the top of the description. It's just $5. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. And I will see you tomorrow with more content.